Welcome back to another episode of the Freelancers Tea Break. This is the podcast for listening to while you're waiting for the kettle to brew, because we all know tea breaks are very, very important for us freelancers. So I'm going to jump straight in. This month is all about marketing on the Freelancers Tea Break, and today I want to talk about newsletters. Now, newsletters tend to be a bit of an afterthought for a lot of freelancers, I know. And it's a shame because emails are fantastic because you don't have to deal with the algorithms of social media. So you don't have to worry about whether your email's going to show up. It's just going to sit there happily in your inbox, hopefully not in your spam folder, but just waiting to be read. And if you create a great newsletter, it's the kind of thing that people will actually look forward to opening. Another bonus is that if people sign up for your newsletter, they tend to be more invested than if they're just clicking follow on social media. And there's also a higher sign-up rate for things. So if you're rolling out a launch or things like that, the sign-up rate tends to be much higher through your newsletter or emails than it does through social media. So I want to talk about two kinds of newsletters that you could do. Now, newsletters have changed a lot, especially in the last few years. I've noticed there's been a return to traditional newsletters, so the kind which would have a few different sections. Think back at school when you'd send out a newsletter as part of a school or part of a project. You'd have all of the different sections. More and more newsletters are becoming like that now online. And I think that variety works really well. But another camp of thought is that it works much better to have no images, a simple short message. That tends to get through spam filters a little bit easier. I personally find that I prefer the newsletters that have more variety in them and lots of different sections, just because it feels like a mini magazine being sent through, but it's entirely personal. So you can have your general newsletter that goes out each week or each month or fortnight, and you could have information in there about what you've been up to recently, maybe some news from the industry that you're in, maybe some tips and some links from around the internet. So my newsletter subscribers get the latest podcast episode, they get a bit of information about what I've been up to, they'll get updates on what's happening in my Life membership. They'll get at the bottom lots of interesting links to things around the internet that I think will be useful for freelancers, and occasionally I'll have other bits and pieces in there to keep people interested. Of course, you want to have some calls to action in there, and you want to mention some of the products and services that you offer. So there's a really good way of doing that. Now, it's either mentioning something in there that's happening in your industry, and then you can pop something in there like, if you'd like to know more about how this can benefit your business, why not book in a session with me? Something like that feels natural, it follows on nicely, you've given them a taster, and then they can book with you to know a bit more. The second type of newsletter you can do is a client exclusive newsletter. So when you work with a client, or maybe for all your previous clients, you could have a newsletter that goes out exclusively to them. It would have all the latest updates, and you can still have that kind of call to action of, if you'd like to know more about this, might book in a free consultation or a call. So you can still have that call to action, but this is designed to keep you in touch with your previous clients and your current clients all the time, which makes it much, much easier. And it only has to be monthly, but it just kind of saves you that worry of thinking, oh, I've got to get in contact, or I've got to chase up those clients. If you're constantly dropping into their email box, and by constantly I mean monthly, I don't know why I keep saying that, but if you are regularly showing up in their inbox, then they're more likely to get in contact with you when they do have work popping up. Now, in terms of how to do it, MailChimp is probably the simplest. It's free for up to, I can't remember what the limit is, but 2,000 maybe. Very easy to use, very good drag and drop. I've recently moved from MailChimp to ConvertKit, or rather my VA Joe moved me, and I'm seeing a lot higher open rates and click rates. Not quite sure why that is at the moment, but obviously that's great. But I'd really recommend ConvertKit as well. I'll pop all the details for them in the comments below. But your newsletter doesn't have to be complicated, and you can create a template that you can just complete each week. And in fact, mine probably only takes me 30 to 45 minutes to do each week, which is nothing really. So if you're on the fence about doing a newsletter, I would definitely recommend it because you can't rely on social media these days. The big crash of Facebook and Instagram a couple of weeks ago was evidence of that. So having that space in their inbox is so important. I'd love to know if you're thinking of starting your newsletter and what you're going to do with that newsletter. Do jump over into the Facebook group, the Freelance Lifestylers, because I would love to know more.